cooking. Yes, indeed, we're cooking. You and me, we're cooking. Cooking with ChefD.
Why I like cooking with chocolate is not only is it great for dessert, but you can use it in so many different sauces for actually main courses. As you've seen, we've done it with some venison. You can also do it on some pork. It's very versatile, and you can think outside the box with it. And even from going from dark chocolate to white chocolate, there's a whole bunch of different recipe ideas that you can use for that. Use it as an ingredient. Put it in some of your soups. It tastes amazing and just makes that soup to be totally a little bit kind of richer. Nothing says love like a chocolate donut. Wow. Ah, good. Nothing like having a host with his mouth full either. So we're thinking, what can we do with beer, chocolate, and a whole bunch of great ingredients? Why don't we make a donut? So that's what the donut that I just had. It's a baked donut. So it's somewhat healthy for us. And it's absolutely using some fine ingredients, and we're going to get started by we're going to add some butter into our mixer, and we've just melted the butter down so it's nice and soft. We're going to add in some brown sugar, some white sugar, and some cocoa to start off with. We're going to mix this up, turn that down. We're going to add in our eggs. We have 2 eggs. You want the eggs at room temperature. And this usually takes between 3 and 4 minutes by the time you get it all done. Now we're going to add our vanilla, our cinnamon, a little bit of baking powder, baking soda, and of course a little bit of pinch of salt. We all need a little bit of salt because salt brings all those great flavors out. You just don't need a whole lot. You can just incorporate this in. Now we have some IPA. So we're going to add some Marlou IPA, about half a cup. At first, we have 2 cups of flour. This is just an all-purpose flour. We're going to add in about 1 cup. Beautiful. Now we're going to add the remaining beer, the remaining flour. Get the dough off. Well, you need a little bit on because we got to try to make sure it's okay. That's really good. Cinnamon, you get the bitterness of the beer and of course the chocolate. Put it into our donut maker pan. We're going to bake it at 350 for about 12 to 14 minutes. You can always do the toothpick test, make sure it's done, and you have perfect baked donuts. The glaze is very simple. I know I say that a lot. It's some butter, some raspberry radler, some maple syrup, and of course, some icing sugar. So we're going to combine all these ingredients into a saucepan. Finally, 1 cup of powdered sugar. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring this up to a gentle boil, and then we're going to reduce it by half. So it's going to give that thickness that we're going to need to make the glaze. And this will take in real time, probably 5 to 7 minutes. As you can see, we've reduced down our sugar, maple syrup, and of course raspberry radler mixture down. Now we're going to put it into a bowl, and we're going to refrigerate it for about 3 to 4 hours just to let it cool. It's going to thicken, and it's going to be a perfect topping, icing for our donuts. Our donuts have baked 12 to 14 minutes, 350 degrees, perfect donuts. I've let them cool now, so they're like very cool. And we're going to just dip them into our icing here. And you have a beautiful donut that's done, it's baked, it's almost healthy for you. As I finish my donut, we're going to be doing a bunch more recipes with chocolate. But first, I want to take you to my favorite chocolate shop, Ambrosia. We're here at my favorite chocolate shop, Ambrosia Pastry and Chocolate. I'm here with the owner, Aura. Hey, well, first of all, congratulations on the new digs here. And as we were talking off camera, you've been doing this since 2013 now?
That's right, yep, 2013.
So now where do you get most of your chocolate, the beans from?
So chocolate, like coffee, is grown at most equator countries. So a lot of the chocolate that we're getting is from Latin America, South America, around the equator. We really stay away from the African chocolate because it's not sustainable, it's not organic, it's not fair trade. And so the smaller producers and farms that are in Latin America are sustainable and organic. So that's where we're getting most of our beans from.
Perfect. Now, I'm just going to bring, can I just bring this out?
Yeah. Sure.
And so you've roasted these off already?
These ones actually are raw, but they have been fermented. And these ones are actually the only one that we carry from an African country, and it's a Ghana bean. So they're really big, they're forsteros, so they're not actually as nice as a Criollo bean. So it's very similar to coffee where you have your Robusta and your Arabica. The same thing is true for cocoa beans, right? So you've got sort of two main categories, and one is a lot nicer to eat than the other. And a lot of the ones that aren't as nice to eat, that goes into your mass-produced chocolate, especially milk chocolate, because you can really mask the flavor.
Right.
But when you're producing something in like a 60, 70, and 80 range, you're getting so much cocoa solids that you need that bean to taste fantastic.
Exactly.
Because that flavor is going to come through in your chocolate.
Cool. Now we have a machine behind me here.
We do? Little Selmy?
Exactly. And exactly what is this doing?
This is a tempering machine. So chocolate it's very interesting because there are a lot of states where the crystals are not stable. And so you really want to eat chocolate where the crystals have stabilized. So that's called tempering. And tempering comes from getting it in the right temperature. And so basically what's happening is you can't melt chocolate too high or it's going to burn.
Right.
You can't melt it too low or it's not going to properly melt. So what happens is this machine melts it at about anywhere between 115 and 120, which is great for a dark chocolate. If we were doing milk, we would go a bit lower because it can actually burn and won't taste nice. And so that's what's happening in the bowl. It's melting and it's also agitating it. And so that keeps it going, and that's also really important for when you're melting chocolate to agitate. If we were tabling it, which is a method for tempering chocolate, the table method, which you would do on marble, we would be doing that on here. We'd be heating it up and moving it around on the table. But we have this nice machine, so we don't have to do that. And then the other component is there's a tube in here. So it's going up through the tube. As it goes through the tube, it's cooling it, and it's cooling it to a preset temperature, just under 90. So between 85 and 90, probably I like between 88 and 90 is where we're gonna get a really nice tempering. And when we temper, what that means is the chocolate is gonna be that really nice shine. It's gonna have that snap when you break it. When you eat it, there's going to be that nice mouthfeel where it just sort of melts in your mouth. You don't get graininess. And so that's what this machine does for us.
And this is where, you know, if you're seeing the mass-produced chocolate bar that all of us eat, you know,
right.
They'd be adding stabilizers and other oils?
So it depends what you're, which chocolate. If you're eating something of a higher quality, so even if we get into like a high-quality Lindt, they're not going to be adding anything to that. It's really going to be, you know, basically your cocoa, your sugar, and sometimes additional cocoa butter just to help with the viscosity, because depending on the bean, there could be more or less cocoa butter or fat in that bean. So you might add a little bit of cocoa butter just so that you get a nice sort of like, not as thick, because chocolate can be very thick. If we're talking about a candy bar, which is what a lot of the chocolate is on the market, so like your Kit Kats and O. Henry's and those type, that category can't be labeled chocolate. Because it doesn't actually have enough cocoa solids to be categorized as chocolate. So all of that stuff is categorized as candy bars. And even something like an Aero bar, which you think, oh, but it's all chocolate. No, it's actually milk chocolate sitting at about 27%. And it has cocoa solids, and it's got a lot of other things in there. So it could have some modified palm oil. So you're adding those types of things to your chocolate, as well as milk powder, to achieve what the tempering is doing with just the natural ingredients.
So the viewer at home, if they want to make a chocolate pot of cream, or they want to make something, what level of chocolate would you use?
So it depends. I mean, a lot of people will use even a baker's chocolate, because when you use a baker's chocolate, the brand Baker's, it's 100%. There's no sugar added to that, and then you can add your sugar to it. So you'll find like a pot de creme, because you're adding sort of like your milk and your sugar, pouring it over. That works really well. If you're making a brownie, they'll often suggest using 100% unsweetened chocolate, because then you're adding your sugar to it. Here we use 70% right now, 72% for a lot of our products. So if we're making brownies, we're using a really dark chocolate.
Yep.
Our oat squares, our ice cream, we're using a high percentage.
Perfect. Well, continued success, and I love coming in here because it makes me want to eat all over again. And again, continued success. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
So I invited my good friend, ChefD, Chef Christian Pritchard, to come back in and talk about chocolate.
Yeah.
Because in Italy, chocolate's pretty popular, isn't it?
Oh, well, you know what? It's wars have been fought over it. I mean, gianduja is the flavor of Italy, and that's hazelnut and chocolate. And you know what? I'm going to give you a little taste of the heart of Italy. If you point straight in the middle of Italy, that's Perugia, that's Perugina, that's where baci, which means kisses. Bacio is one, is from. There's a 51% dark. It's already been tempered to 31 degrees Celsius. Love metric. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take it over the gianduja, the center, and the roasted nocciola, the hazelnut. We go like so. Look at this. Now, everyone says, is this the way they're made? Well, traditionally, they're made, there's 6 million made a day today. Yeah, so there we go.
Now, the history of this beautiful thing.
Do we have an hour and a half?
Okay, well, can you make it a close note version?
Okay, 1922 was created by Luisa Spinoli, an amazing woman whose name is synonymous with fashion. The amazing thing about baci is it used to be called pugna, which means fist, punch. And so there you go, you're gonna do one, it's terrific. But she was having an affair at the time with another man. This is an absolute true story. That's why there's a note in every single baci, because she was sending notes to Giovanni Bottoni. And that's just that part of it. The creation of the chocolate, it's a 51% recipe that started in 1907. So it ancient stuff. Still made with the same 8 ingredients to this day in San Sisto, Italy.
Okay, wow, that's incredible.
It's amazing.
So, chocolate.
Yeah.
Now, you know, there's so many times that we hear that, you know, it should be like 75, 80, 85.
Yeah.
And yours is down around the 50.
Well, baci, Perugina, they do have right up to 85% dark. So, I mean, it's the whole spectrum. I think the thing is North Americans, myself being of British descent, we were very used to milk chocolate. And once you get into the dark chocolate, as cooks, we love that bitterness, and it's actually very good for you in limited amounts, right? But
Limited amounts?
Well, is there anything better than a dark chocolate and red wine?
Oh.
It's perfect. It really is.
No,
you know? But I mean, the products are amazing. The stories are incredible. The sourcing is amazing too, from, you know, Africa and South America. The cocoa butter. I mean, white chocolate, if you want a great fact, is cocoa butter. Okay. And if it's anything else on the label, you know it's not real white chocolate. So it's another little fact too.
Again, read your labels. You tend to find out so many different things when you kind of dive down a little bit deeper.
Absolutely. And Chef, I like to talk to people about when they make their own chocolate at home. Tempering chocolate, so important. And you watch the chocolate not set and you see what we call footing, is where it comes off the side. That's because milk chocolate should be tempered to 29 degrees Celsius. Not 32, it's 31 for 51 and above for a dark chocolate. For white chocolate, it's 27 degrees, okay?
Now, is that because the fat comes out?
Absolutely, it's a different fat content, right, too, and it's amazing. Once you taste, and I always suggest to people who love chocolate to try, you know, go counterclockwise and taste. When you get to milk, you'll be amazed with the creaminess. You'll be amazed with the difference with the bitterness to the creaminess. It's really quite amazing. And if you look at good chocolate, look at the gleam on it. Look at the color, you know, the smell, the texture. And that's the other thing we always love to do too, is look at that.
Yes.
I mean, the ribboning is amazing. And to temper properly, it's actually on the marble board.
Now, you can buy a piece of marble from any,
Sure.
you know, Lowe's or Home
Absolutely.
Hardware, you know, that type of thing, and have that, and then the parchment paper. That's just,
you know what, so it's easy to get your product put onto something, and it's easy way to decant it, get it taken off. So.
And now you're using gloves.
Yes.
And that's because there's lots of heat that comes off
Yeah,
our hands.
very good point that with the gloves is not just the heat. The heat will melt the chocolate too. So, I mean, our hands are very warm.
Yes.
And you know, mine are especially warm. I wear gloves this thick. No, but it is one of those things too. So you don't want to ruin the product too. And you can break the texture of it as well. Yeah.
Okay, so we've been talking about more like a dessert chocolate, right?
Yes.
But there's also the savory side.
My favorite.
And because the next part of this is I'm going to actually be doing some venison, coffee rubbed venison, and then I'm going to do it in a dark chocolate sauce.
Where's my plate?
You have to come back and
Okay.
see that. But again, you know, because so many times that we think that chocolate is just for dessert,
Absolutely not.
which is great. But
Yep. When you have chocolate at its highest point of percentage, you'll know. You'll taste that bitterness. You'll taste that earthiness. And we're so used to sweetness that once you use the texture the texture characteristics, it'll blow your mind as a cook.
And just remember too, when you're having a piece of chocolate, and we'll just take a little piece here.
Yes.
Don't chew it. Like just let it savor
Yeah.
on your tongue.
That's
And
right.
then you get all the different nuances and the different, you know,
Use
four
one
different.
like this big. It's savored for an hour and a half.
Instead of chewing gum, what are you doing, chef? Oh, I'm savoring gum.
Chocolate.
I make good TV.
Exactly.
Brother, I can't thank you enough for coming on.
My pleasure.
Sharing your passion because it's so good. But you know, before we do this,
Oh, you're gonna even have a moist one. Good
I
boy.
know, right?
Oh. See two. Janduia.
You know, I'm just gonna do this the rest of the afternoon.
Why not?
Cooking with Chef D.
I thought I'd bring back my butcher extraordinaire friend, Rob Brady from Brady's Meats. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure.
Good to be here.
So we're doing something with chocolate, and I thought, wouldn't it be really cool to do something with venison versus a lot of different proteins? And now, do you get asked for a lot of different species?
We do, like we have a lot of people looking for variety meats, venison, bison, wild boar, all the game meats, and we have access to a lot of them. We're lucky. This is from a local farmer, so it's farm-raised red deer venison. This is the strip loin. It's delicious, very lean meat.
Very lean. So again, you don't want to overcook it. You might
Yes.
even want to put, like, maybe taking some wild boar and putting a little bit of the fat around it just
Yep.
to give it some more moisture. Absolutely fantastic. So what I was thinking, I was trying to think outside the box today to do something totally different. So we're going to do a coffee rub with this. And I'm going to add a little bit of dried garlic, a little bit of garam masala, so we get a little bit of that earthy flavor, and then some coffee.
Nice.
So we're going to take a little bit of coffee. So I have about 2 tablespoons of ground coffee. And if you can get your coffee shop to grind it even a little bit finer, they can almost get it to a powder. It works beautiful. A little bit of garlic. We're just going to go probably like a 1/4 teaspoon. And then garam masala, because I like the whole richness of this spice so that it's not overpowering anything here, but it's just going to add a little bit to it. So we probably put in a tablespoon of that. And then just going to hit it with a little bit of salt and pepper. We're going to give it a quick stir. Now, you don't want to take this and you don't want to put it all around the meat, there's an oxymoron, sorry, all around the venison, because you don't want this, you want to taste it. This is just an accompaniment to it. It's just going to enhance the flavor just a little bit. So what we're going to do here is I'm just going to gently sprinkle this on, just like so. And then what we're going to do is just kind of rub it in. Now, if you wanted some more of the spice to kind of permeate the meat just a little bit more, you could actually put it in the refrigerator, wrap it in saran wrap, and do it over 24 hours and just kind of let that sit on it. This way, I like it just a little bit done this way so that, again, we're not overpowering the meat at all and letting the meat doing the talking, because that's what's really important. I'm just going to let that sit for a second. I just want to get my sauce going. So Again, we've taken some demi-glaze like I've shown before, and we're going to add some of the Waterloo Salted Caramel Dark Beer, about half a cup. And this does have the nuances of the coffee and the chocolate, so it kind of works really well. I'll let you finish that if you like.
Thank you.
I'll let you finish that. And then we're going to take some dark chocolate that we got from Ambrosia here in town, and we're going to melt that in. And then while that's doing its thing, I'm going to turn it down. I had it about high to start off with so that I could reduce the demi-glaze down. And now I've just added the coffee and the beer. We're going to let that slowly melt together, and we'll have a perfect sauce. Now I'm going to take our venison, grab it, and we're going to put it into a fry pan, cast iron. Now you can do this on the barbecue or the wood fire grill or wherever you want to go with it, but sometimes you don't always have that. So if you don't, cast iron fry pan is really great. I just buttered the pan before we went on, and I'm going to put this in my oven. I'm going to put a temperature probe in it. If you don't have a temperature probe in your oven, always buy a meat thermometer. It's words, you can't overcook this. You want to have it about 125, so just past the rare stage. So in that goes. We're going to plug it in. Program our oven, and away we go. So I brought the loin out of the oven. It was sitting at about 116 degrees, and now I'm just going to let it rest because the fry pan is still really, really hot, so it's going to cook for a little bit more, and I love how it puffs up.
Looks amazing.
It's just beautiful. So what got you into butchering?
That's a good question. I kind of worked part-time as a kid coming out of high school. I happened to find a job in working as a Saturday part-time job, and just loved what I seen, and I was hooked, and that was it. I was off an apprenticeship and just never really left.
Okay, so Brady's, how long have you had the store for now?
This year will be our 20th year.
Congratulations, that's
Thanks.
really
Yeah,
cool. So for the person coming into your store, and looking around, what gives you the differential from anybody else?
products like this for sure. If somebody wants a special cut, we can always get it for them, whether it be wild boar, venison, dry aged beef, lamb. Just being able to have access to some amazing products.
And some great cheeses. You have pretty much everything.
Yeah, we do specialty items, like we have a special nitrate-free bacon made for us with wild boar. Keeps people coming back every time. So unique. We like to be unique.
Your ossobuco is pretty darn fantastic.
Yes.
And it's like cut like this. That's what I solely love about it.
It's amazing.
So yeah, check out Rob, Brady's Meats up in Waterloo. You have Facebook, Instagram.
We do, yeah.
And website as well?
Brady'sMeats.com.
Okay, perfect. So I think we should cut into this.
Absolutely.
And then we just have our chocolate sauce is reduced down and it's getting nice and thick. Oh, it smells amazing. This is going to be so good. Nice and rare in the middle. Oh, we need another piece. And there you have it, taking chocolate to a whole different level using some amazing venison that we got from Brady's. A simple rub, and now chocolate sauce. I think, sir, you should try it, and away we go.
Wow.
Nice flavor of the spices, but you still get the taste of the meat, which we're all looking for. And then the chocolate just complements everything.
It really does, yeah.
You probably thought
Amazing.
you probably thought I lost my spiky-haired mind,
No.
didn't you?
What a great combination.
Well, sir, thank you so much for coming. I really
you.
appreciate it.
It's been
much
amazing.
success, and here's to another 20 years.
Thank you so much.
Look at that. If you want to, you can turn them over halfway through the cooking process. We're not going to look at it for about 2 hours. The whole house is going to smell amazing. The meat's going to be tender. Hi. Who's that?